Yeah, Captain. You know, it helps if I open up the soundboard program.
It doesn't look like he enjoys that.
I'm not even. No, he does. He's
I know, but
fighting for
I'm
it.
just saying it doesn't look like he enjoys it.
Not even petting him. I'm just shaking his head while I hold on to it.
Yeah.
All right. This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by the Discord mod teams. Apparently, not all a bunch of furry pedophile degenerates. Some of them have some good sense, which is why they have not yet banned my account. Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get, from north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host and Dr. Evil impersonator, Tab Burt, and with me today, as always, my friend, Tim the
Mr.
Handlebreaker.
Bigglesworth.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been a while since I've been on the show.
It's been a few weeks, yeah, and
Yeah.
also you've been probably working at a breakneck pace, which makes you forget that like things are happening.
Yeah, that's who. I think I put in I put in over 65 hours last week,
It's pretty good.
and I didn't work every day, so that was that was fun.
Those are crazy times. It's been 5 days since I last touched hot glass. Getting the
And you're jonesing.
I am.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I'm not gonna get to do it this week, so it's not gonna be until next Tuesday that I get to go back.
Well,
A
I
week
think there's a little program you
now.
should watch. There's a little program you should watch called Breaking Bad. It's about these guys that make this ornate blue glass and they sell it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it infests my dreams now.
Yeah.
So we had a show load out on Sunday, and we had to paint the stage because they painted it all gray, so we had to paint it back to flat black. And I go to paint, and I have a paint roller in my hand, on a roller on a stick, so you don't have to
Yeah.
bend over. And I'm waiting for everyone to get into the room, and I'm just
You're practicing.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I just had
You're
a
just
stick in my
fidgeting.
hand,
Okay.
and I was rolling, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Oh, I guess I'm rolling this paint roller
Yeah.
because
This is me now.
this is me now. I roll things.
Yeah.
I do. I host podcasts and I roll. That's what I do.
This is how I roll. Yeah.
What about you? How's your regular life been?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, I too. Well, I say I too, but I'm testing out a new hobby. Starting this week, getting into something, and maybe it'll hit me like glass hit you, which is not a good way to say that.
You get
Because
bitten by
otherwise
the
you're
bug.
gonna end up like you're gonna end up like what's his face in the Punisher.
I think about that scene a lot. It's not Jigsaw. Who is he?
It's Jigsaw.
Yeah, in Punisher Warzone, he falls. So we did on last week's class, last Thursday, we had a stained glass demo, and so we're taking this cutter and just cutting sheet glass, and there's all these broken bits of sheet glass laying all over the table. And in my head, I was just thinking of that scene in the Punisher Warzone where he gets thrown into that big thing and just spun around until he's
Yeah.
turned into mush, basically. That's a great movie. We did a commentary on that movie, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. What else? Have you seen Puss in Boots yet?
No, I have no desire to.
Apparently, it's the best animated movie of the last 10 years.
I heard someone calling it the Enter the Spider-Verse of the Shrek universe. the Shrek cinematic universe,
God.
of course.
Yeah.
Next year, Donkey is coming out. And then
An origin story of Donkey.
yeah, yes.
He'll be played by Donald Glover instead of Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, of course.
Man. I watched a video about it. So all the stuff, the clips that I was seeing, it does not look like other animated movies of like right
no,
now.
it's not the like hyper realistic like Unreal Engine like
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's got a style
and
to it.
fun. Yeah, which
Like
was.
did you see the trailer for the new Ninja Turtles movie?
I did not. There's a new Ninja Turtles movie coming out.
There's an animated Ninja Turtles movie coming out. And it too is very very heavily stylized.
That's kind of neat. Like, imagine that making a an animated movie where you try and like do something new and interesting instead of just the same worthless,
Yeah.
boring style that everything is now.
And think about it what you will, but I think most people are attributing that to that Spider-Man movie, showing that you can do a big animated movie and not have it be
Make
cookie
a Pixar
cutter.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
As much as I used to love Pixar, like all their shit is just like they churn movies out at a rate now where people are like, "Oh, did you see the new Pixar this movie?" And I'm like,
yeah,
I had no idea that was even coming out.
right. It used to be like they used to put one out like every 2 or 3 years,
Yeah,
and now they put 2 or 3 out every year.
and I mean it's just like the Marvel movies, right? Where as the number of movies they're doing expands, the quality just tanks.
Yeah, like I haven't seen the new Ant-Man, but I have heard some stuff.
Have you seen the pictures of MODOK?
Yeah,
Oh man, that is embarrassing. That looks
Yeah,
like
super
something you and
embarrassing.
I did would do in a movie. Like, yeah, we'll just stretch and warp his head to this like animated frame cell.
yeah,
Uh,
man. It's funny because like it's not history repeating itself, but when they were first like, man, MODOK's gonna be in this movie, everyone was like posting like clips from Spy Kids 3D because like the bad guy in Spy Kids 3D is George Lopez in this terrible 3D CG abomination of a body where he's just like a round head with arms and legs,
yeah.
and then like that actually is what it turned out to be.
It's kind of unfair though because in Spy Kids 3D, that's just George Lopez in a suit. His head is that big, and it's a lot different now. They took a white man and they stretched his face onto a terrible CGI bubble. Oh,
Stallone is in that movie. Spy Kids
Stallone
3D.
is in one of the Spy Kids. Yeah.
He's in Spy Kids 3D. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's some wild stuff.
I took my siblings to see that movie in the theaters.
I think I went with like friends in middle school for someone's birthday to see that movie in theaters. Was someone yelling racial slurs in your screening?
Yes. Oh,
Oh man!
I'm finally feeling
Another weird crossover.
it's kismet. Actually, you know what? One of my coworkers was at the Dark Knight trilogy marathon
really?
that we went to back in 2012.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The one where I won the first round of trivia, like, no problem.
Yeah, so I actually have a question to ask you. Do you remember anyone yelling anything at you during trivia?
No.
Okay, so it wasn't you, because I was asking him questions, and he was like, "Yeah, all I remember really about the night was like someone answered a trivia question, and it was really hard and really specific, and he got it right, and so I yelled nerd."
That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I remember they did like trivia between every movie, and
Yes.
the first round were like super hard,
Yeah,
and then the second round it was just like, what is
like-
Batman's sidekick's name?
yeah, gimmies, super gimmies.
It was
Yeah.
bizarre. I don't think I ever put that sticker anywhere that I won. Bummer. Oh no, it's probably on the back of this computer now that I think about it. As I focus the reacher cam on my own keyboard. Anyway, well, Timmy, you ready to get in some issues?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I have a quick first issue here for you before we really get started. Here's what I don't get. when you shoot an arrow at a guy and somehow magically he jumps 12 feet to the right or left, thus dodging the arrow completely like some
Yeah.
kind of fucking warlock.
Yep.
What the fuck is that, Tim? What the fuck is that? That's bullshit.
It's called the
That's some
processing
straight up
power of the Nintendo Switch.
bullshit. No, this problem has existed in Skyrim in
No,
every,
yeah.
even the most like high-end modded rig
Yeah.
playing like Super Skyrim. You'll still be like, you'll aim it all up. You'll have the zoom in thing. You'll fire
Yep.
the arrow. It'll make it about halfway there, and they'll go, "Psh," and then misses, and it's like, and what it really needs, the only way it could get any better is if when that happened, they just played that kid from The Simpsons, ha ha, like
Yeah.
at least then I could get some entertainment out of it. But as it is, I'll just be like, I'm trying to snipe a whole area of people from
Yep.
without moving. Like that's my
Yes.
goal. I went into a cave the other day. It was there was like a castle inside a cave, and there was all these enemies, and I just perched up on a ledge and I killed literally everyone from the one ledge, and I was like, nailed it.
Stealth archery just feels so good, dude.
Yeah. I didn't even lie to myself this time. I'm now like 35 hours in, maybe 40 hours into this playthrough.
Already maxed out stealth and archery.
I have not maxed them out yet. I'm pretty close on both.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, usually I'll be like, I'm going to do like a wizard build, or I'm going to do like, I'll do one-handed for a while, but then I'll like,
Yeah.
I was just like, we're going stealth archery the entire time. I'm never not crouching. I am never not firing my arrows.
Yeah,
And then, and I've been having a wonderful time. I haven't used any cheats or exploits on this playthrough yet.
Nice.
And I have power leveled a few things, but I also, the other thing I have not done is I never touched the main quest line. So I'm 40 hours in. I have 0 dragon souls, and thus no shouts, which is really weird because usually I'll use shouts to be like, all right, everybody back up for a second. Now I'm going to need to kill you. I'm going to need to kill you. I'm going to need to kill you. And I'm going to need to kill your friend back there who just figured out where we were. Hey, buddy, what's up? Skid, you dead. So anyway, that's my
last modded playthrough. I had an arrow mod that lets you make fire arrows by just walking up to a urn or a torch or whatever, and like putting your bow into it.
Yeah.
It had rope arrows. It had water arrows to put out fire. It was pretty cool.
One of the things in this anniversary update are fire arrows, ice arrows, and lightning arrows.
Oh, nice.
But their base damage is 8, so they're basically worthless. They have the same damage as an iron arrow, and they never like scale up. So I bought them for a while, and then I was just like, I get more fire damage by having a bow that does fire damage than using these fucking fire arrows.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my first mini issue. I'm so fucking tired of that happening. It makes me like, I know it's a Skyrim level problem, but sometimes when I'm like really dialed in and that happens, I just want to like fling my switch across the room and just be like, you zoom-ocked me. You all zoom-ocked me. Anyway, well, what's your issue, Tim?
Here's what I don't get. The cattle call. This is mostly about airports and Southwest flights and how the way they board.
Yeah.
So if you don't fly on Southwest, you get there's no assigned seating.
Yeah.
So you get given a letter and a number, and basically they're like, okay, A1 through 30 you can board now, and so, or you can get in line. And so A1 through 30 gets in line like good little kids at a schoolyard, and then A31 through 60
yeah.
gets in the line next to him. Okay, 1 through 30 you can go. It's your turn. And 31 through 60 then you go. You just through all the letters. And they give you enough. They give the room for 5 people, right? So there's these little pylons, and it's like, here's 31 through 35.
Mm-hmm.
You stand in this 5 foot squared section. Yeah, all of you have giant backpacks on. and a piece of luggage or two.
You guys are fucking up because you're flying Southwest. You should check them fucking bags.
Dude, I saw people that had checked bags and then also bringing in a personal item and they had 2 checked bags and a personal item and a carry-on.
Were they moving there? What the fuck?
I don't know.
When I fly not Southwest, I have like my roller bag that will fit in the overhead bin in my backpack.
Same.
When I fly Southwest, I have my like very large piece of luggage, and sometimes I don't even carry the backpack. I'm just like,
What you have in your pockets. Yeah.
I'll carry my tablet and everything in my pockets. It's like, this will last me 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, that's how I do it. And so, of course, because there's no assigned seating, you go in there and people like, the people that have wheelchairs get in first. And then all the like 2 rows of the exit rows, the ones that have like the 6 inches of extra legroom, those are gone immediately. Yeah. And then everyone sits where they like, which is a window seat or an aisle seat. Everyone has a preference. No one ever wants to sit in the middle. So you have this terrible like situation where like if you're like the last 30 to 25% of the plane boarding, all the window seats are taken, all the aisle seats are taken. So
and all the people that are already sitting are like, they're like, hey buddy, I hope no one sits between us. And then here comes this big old fat guy and he's like, is that seat taken?
You've got people that they don't even know each other. Like let's hold hands in between the middle seat and hopefully no one takes this. Or you got people being like, oh, I hope no one comes over here. It's the worst.
I just like I'll carry a little throw blanket and I'll be under my throw blanket like and it keeps not only the seat but all 3 seats are empty.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
I'm just warming up over here. I'm just warming up. It's cold in here. Actually, one of my flights last week, we boarded the plane and it was hot. Like outside was cold and rainy, but inside the airplane, hot. like they had been partying in there or something.
Probably. They were all doing calisthenics.
Yes.
The last flight.
Yeah. But yeah, I it's that, and then there's these shows that I'm doing. There's a lot of people there, and I've always hated the sort of like the people that it's a job, but the people that are there to like guide you. There's not so much people like this at the airport. Be like at these events, I'll be like, there's people like. The people in the front be like, okay, now look for the people in the green vest. They'll tell you where to go. And you got people in these green vests be like doing, what's the
Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz? Like some people go left, some people go right, some people go both ways.
Yeah, I was thinking of like the
guy with the little sticks.
Yeah, there's a term for it, but it's slipping
minimum
my mind.
wage worker. That's what they call them. Expendable.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of like, sheepdog herding cattle, and it's always given me an icky feeling.
Yeah.
Of like people being treated that way. And don't get me wrong, most people deserve to be treated that way, just not me.
I'm better than these mouth breathers. Yeah, no, the thing that I hate about the cattle call, those guide people, is like I'm a level of intelligent where I don't really need those people.
No.
I have a connecting flight. I'm in Terminal C. We landed in Terminal C, which tells me on my boarding pass. My connecting flight is in Terminal A. I know I need to go get to Terminal A, so I get out of the airport, and people will get out of that gangway and they'll be like, Where's Terminal A? You see that big fucking sign that says Terminal A and has an arrow pointing that way towards the shuttles?
Yeah.
It's that way.
Even
fucking moron.
Even the biggest airports, like I was, I was in DFW recently, which is like it's just DFW is just a city. It's its own city within Dallas.
Yeah.
Even that has like it's like, have you never driven before? Have you never even been on a road before? You know those big green things on the road? They tell you where to go. Like the airport has that too, buddy.
Yeah. People do this in theater all the time, right? You'll buy a ticket to a show, and then they'll be like, I'm in house right section. I'm in row G, seat 8.
Yeah.
And people will come in routinely, hand me their ticket and go, or not even really hand me my ticket. They'll just be like, where are my seats? And then they'll just be like holding the ticket out, right? And then I have to crane my head and kind of lean around the ticket and look at it and be like, you're in house right. And it's like talking to an 8-year-old, right? You go like,
Yeah,
you're in
yeah.
house right. This is the right-hand side. You're in row G. G is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're 7 rows in the front. You're in seat 11. The numbers start on the right-hand side. You'll be 11 seats in. Have a nice day, you fucking moron.
Yeah.
And like, you should be able to look, as an adult person, you should be able to look at that and know where you're going. But inevitably, people, I did a show a couple months ago where people were all kinds of in the wrong fucking spots. And the intermission, we had to go tell them to and rearrange them around. And it's like, no, these people, one group got to the theater. I shit you not, 7 p.m. show. 6:15 a pre-show like music thing started.
Yeah.
7 p.m. the show starts. 7:55 these fucking people walk in the door.
Wow.
Yeah. You're not just late, you are insultingly late.
You
5
are
minutes
Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2 late.
5 minutes after they walk in, they come right up to the light board and they're like, someone's in our seat. Yeah. Those people got here on time. Where the fuck you been? Look at that ticket. What time does the ticket say that the show starts? Does it say 7:55? No, it doesn't. What is your fucking watch running on Chinese time, you fucking moron? And so then 5 minutes later, intermission happens. Like, you should just fucking stayed outside and then come in at intermission.
Yeah.
You giant asshole.
I remember going to a show.
Yeah, like you need these cattle calls because the vast majority of people. This is why we'll all go willingly get on the trains and go straight to Auschwitz because it'll just be like, yeah, there's candy on this train. If you guys get on there, and we'll be like, oh, candy. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, follow the people in the skull caps.
But yeah, and everything's like that. There's the leaving big concerts, the big concert venues, and there'll just be this massive humanity leaving the arena and flooding out with no real plan on where they're going or how they're getting out of there.
Nope.
And then they get all like upset that they're sitting there, what's going on? Why can't I get out of this parking lot? I paid $35 to park directly in front of the venue. Like, yeah, that's where all the people are walking.
Yeah,
if you had walked an extra 2 blocks, you would have paid less and you'd been able to get the fuck out of town.
That is really bad. I haven't been in that situation for a long time because I plan these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, getting out with traffic from a big event, it's no bueno.
I've always thought that, so with airlines specifically, Southwest couldn't do it, right? Because Southwest has a they're doing the cattle call deal, but with other airlines, you have assigned seating. I've always wondered why they don't, instead of being like, our Priority Plus boarding members, feel free to board right now, board the plane back to front.
Back to front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rows, row double Z, seats 1 through 5, you're boarding now. Row double Y, seats 1 through 5, you're boarding now. But they it'll board all over, and then you'll have someone who's sitting in the back of the plane, but walks on the plane and goes like, I'm putting my bag right here in the first fucking overhead thing. And then it causes problems for the whole rest of the fucking flight.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's someone on Twitch who wants to offer us promotion of our channel, viewers, followers, and chat bots. Boy, this sounds like a real a real thing. Picky Parkers in a nutshell. Yeah, those people you'll see in Walmart parking lots, like sitting there waiting for this one guy to pull out, and then you'll park at the back of the parking lot, walk
Yeah.
past their car, get your things, walk out, and they're like,
And they're
"Get out of
still
the
waiting.
car."
Yeah.
Like if you had just walked an extra 10 feet, which you look like you needed to, you fat fuck, you'd be have done shopping by now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The worst is like when someone's like in row F, and it you know, because you're right in a sense, like we should board back to front because we leave front to back.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to like row F, and someone in row F is like, "Sorry, I have to squeeze past all these people that are standing in the aisle because I had to put my bag. I got on, later, but I had an upfront seat, and I had to put my bag like at the back of the plane." And so you've got like now like that person's luggage is crowd surfing through the airplane trying to get to him.
Yeah, and in those cases, right, that person's like, "Oh, my bag is in the back of the plane." Then sit the fuck down and wait.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to wait until everyone else is off this fucking plane, dude. The other cattle call thing I hate is when you would go to like a movie premiere, right? And this is after when it was general mission seating, I didn't mind it as much, but now it's assigned seating, and they'll herd you into the little stanchions, right? And they're like, "All right, who's ready to see Ant-Man 3, the Antsylvania?" And they open up that little thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, F7, that's my seat." All right, then. It's like,
I'm glad I ran in here full sprint.
like those are the pictures of Black Friday that we imagine, and
Yes, yeah.
that no longer exists because Black Friday starts I'm sure there are Black Friday sales starting right now, the 7th of March.
Yeah.
But it used to be like the store doesn't open until 5 a.m. and the people be all camped out, and then have the news people there like, all right, and they do the big count. Oh, and it'd be news. It'd be like, look at all these people sitting outside Bass Pro Shop. Like, yeah, look at all those fucking morons. And they'll let them in. They go charging in for their fucking deals.
Yeah.
We really are just we're barely human.
Yeah.
It's time to
Call
to
the
just
herd.
admit it. Yeah, well, call the herd. Call the herd would be one of them. No, I want. I know PBR happened in Tulsa in the last week,
It did.
couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go when you do that show, they have the cattle railing all the way up
Yes.
into the arena. We really just need that everywhere. Just like
We
cattle
do, yeah.
railing down the middle of the aisles at Walmart and Target, cattle railing in the airports.
Guys standing around with prods.
Yeah, prodding people who
Stop grazing.
I gotta take a selfie here to let people know that I landed for my transfer flight in Dallas Fort Worth. No one gives a shit. Get the fuck on out of here. Get on your little bus and ride to the next terminal.
No one has ever seen a picture taken from the window of an airplane, inside of an airplane, of the wing in the sky.
Back, you animals. That's what they need. So airplanes should be like, there should be the inner tube where the people are, and then the outer tube is the actual outside of the airplane. And on the inside, you open up the window, and there should just be like movies playing. Stop fucking looking out the window like you give a shit. You look out there during taxiing and takeoff, and you're like, oh, look, road. Oh, look, the sky. All right, I'm bored. And you close it, and then they're like, boom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to make our descent. And suddenly you're glued back to that window. Like, fuck off. They should just put everyone inside the tube and put them in. Airplanes should be sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah.
You get in there.
Well, that's how I fly, anyways.
Yeah.
Right?
4 hours
Like,
later, they open up the hatch. Hey, you're in Dallas. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Like, that's how I fly, anyways. Like, I find my seat, I get situated, I pull out my Kindle and my listening device. I put my IEMs in, and I put my music on, and then I read. Or just kind of sit there and listen to music, and then and the window's shut, and eventually it's just, we're landing, sweet, awesome, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Another thing that cattle I think this is our natural state because fast food places, they used to have like built-in stanchions to wind you
Yeah.
through, and it was
Yeah.
weird because
Some places still have that.
I've never been to a fast food place and seen more than like 4 people there. So I'm wondering I'm wondering a world where you're queuing in line like, oh man, what do I want? Do I want a double quarter pounder or a single quarter pounder or a Big Mac? Like, oh, you know what? I'll get the same fucking thing I've ordered McDonald's every time I've come to McDonald's for the last 15 or 20
Yeah.
years.
Like you don't have a go-to.
Yeah. Everyone's got a fucking go-to when they go to those places. Yeah, well, like the movie theater, man, you remember movie theaters and they'd have, they'd have the
They
ticket
still do.
office there, and you'd have
Some
to
of 'em
like
still do.
zigzag through the fucking thing to get to the front.
The
of
one I
line.
usually go to closest to me still has that. It has and that's that one's great because it has like the regular red stanchions and then the gold stanchions for the like elite members.
Yeah.
You get to go around the.
You get to go straight past these people.
The wagyu yeah, the wagyu breed gets to go around and eat the good food.
Yeah, I think we need it. Like I understand it as a don't get because you're a human.
Yeah.
But I really the more and more I spend around people and the more I see this world, I'm like, yeah, no, we should be cramming people through these systems. I mean, that's what school really.
Yeah.
So kind of sets you up for all that shit. Like stand in a line, right in line with the person behind you. Put your arm against the shoulder, or put your shoulder against the wall. At all times, never move. And that's where the conditioning starts to be just go where you're told. Don't think, just act.
It's gotta. And here's the thing: it's gotta be hell on the people, like on the callers, the callers. Like the difference in my flight to the TSA difference in my flight to Arizona and my flight from Arizona last week could not have been more different. Like to Arizona was just like it was like the rules. It's like I mean. Like there were probably people in there that had there were kids there probably never flown before, adults that probably never flown before, but it didn't seem like the loudspeaker of instructions. It was like I knew what to do, so I was ready, and no one was telling me exactly what to do. You know what I mean? But on the way back, I had to sit in a stanchion line for 30 minutes. While
the guy is just shouting at you the same instructions.
Yes, and the one guy. This is how because by the time I got up to the actual security part, the guy was like, you could see he just had like the worst day, and he's like leaning on something. He's like, okay, for the last time, if you've got anything bigger than your phone, and he's like listing the things off like the back of his hand. Go in this line.
Specific things too, right? Because
yes.
Is my iPad bigger than my phone? Yes. Is my iPad mini bigger than my phone? Pull your fucking phone out and hold up every other electronic device you have next to it. If it's bigger, put it in a fucking bin by itself, you fucking moron. That's what they want to say, but they're not allowed to say that.
Of course.
Yeah,
not.
the last time I flew, which was a couple of years ago, and I was flying out of Portland, and the guy is just like, if you have a Kindle, if you have a Paperwhite, if you have an iPad, if you have an Android tablet, if you have a laptop, if you have a Surface Pro, and he's just like, and he has to list the specific brand, and I'm surprised it wasn't like, if you have an iPad Gen 3, if you have an iPad Gen 4, if you have an iPad Pro, if you have an iPad Pro 2, if you have an iPad Pro 17, and just like, because these people would... And then inevitably, someone would get up to the front of the line, they'd scan the bag, and then they'd be like, they'd have the bag, and they'd be like, there's a fucking iPod Pro in this fucking bag, you fucking moron! You stood there and listened to this man shout this 100 times, and the entire time, you're staring into space just like, well, they're not talking to me. And this is...
I distinctly remember the lady behind me on the way back was in the line for I have something bigger than my phone.
Yeah.
Her thing bigger than her phone was her Apple Watch. Because I guess if you like take it off, and hold it up like a watch. It's probably bigger than your phone.
If you hold your phone at arm's length and the Apple Watch up to your head, you're like, oh my God, it's so big.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And the guy was just like, "You can put that back on, ma'am." Is that your electronic item bigger than your phone?
Man, please step into this actual super deluxe line we have for you. You're going to take you back to this back room. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Oxman Livestream makes a good point. The TSA deserves dealing with those people because they're the same retards just with a badge. That he's actually completely accurate. The only thing I wish there was like a hand signal, right? Where you could walk up to the deal and just be like, "Hey man, I read the sign. I've got my laptop, my Kindle, my phone, ready to put them in some bins."
It's called TSA pre-check.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That's great if you fly all the time like you.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna
I
get that
flew
pretty soon.
once in 2021, and I will fly once this year.
Yeah, I mean, good thing is it lasts for 5 years. Once you
But even like spreading that out because it's what, like $100.
even it's I think it's $75 now. They cheapened it. They made it.
Yeah, it's still
cheaper.
it's like
Even
30
if you
bucks a
fly,
flight.
even if you fly once a year regularly, that's yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, those people, they need those lines. They need to be yelled at because they will make dumb decisions. Like,
Yeah.
is my watch bigger than a phone? Oh, I wouldn't be able to do that kind of job because I would make it like a day. I would make it a day. Some woman would show up and be like, "I have my Apple Watch here, sir," and I'd just be like, "That's smaller than a phone. That is smaller than a phone, you dumb bitch. You know what? You don't get to fly today. Come back tomorrow. Maybe you can fucking figure it out then. Go back to the front fucking desk. Tell them you're too fucking stupid to understand larger than and smaller than a phone, and then they'll fucking rebook your ticket, you dumb cunt." And they'd be like, "Tab, why don't you come back in the back room?" No, all you fucking people need to hear this. The fucking airport's closed. You guys can't fucking figure it out. No flights.
My
Fucking terrorists can get their shit through, and you people can't do it. Come on.
my favorite part of that whole airport experience was getting out of that security line, and then I'm waiting for my coworker, who was with me when we went into the line, and the people next to him were these two Hispanic women, and the TSA lady was I overheard as we were walking away saying, "Ladies, we're gonna have to have a chat about those teddy bears you're bringing."
They're full of drugs.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My least, that was my favorite part. My least favorite part was seeing that a hot and ready personal pizza was $20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it has to go through a big TSA pre-check to get through the.
Yeah.
To get to where you can fucking eat it.
That's how the dough rises.
Yeah. Talking about how the federal government needs to regulate things. They should really regulate airport food prices to be something that a normal person could afford sometime in their lifetime.
Yeah.
Not have to finance a personal pan pizza. Have you seen that? Have you seen where, like, on Domino's, you can now pay with one of those.
Affirm or whatever.
Places. Yeah, Affirm.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And it's like, you order now and pay later. It's like, if you can't get a large Domino's pizza without financing it, you shouldn't be ordering from Domino's.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for.
Episode is brought to you in part by Ricada News Network. Is definitely not fake news.
Well, Tim, what news do we have today?
Our first news story comes to us from our childhoods. Our childhoods were filled with many things of nostalgia. I don't know about you, but this actually wasn't part of my regular part of my childhood, and that's Sunny D.
Oh, I love Sunny D.
Now I have had Sunny D, and it is good, and definitely not orange juice. It's a different thing. It's
Sunny D is like, I don't even know if Sunny D is technically a liquid. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember the feeling of Sunny D in your mouth? Which is, but it wasn't like other liquids in your mouth. It had a weird, it was almost like it never actually touched the inside surface of your mouth. There was like a small layer of air constantly separating it.
Yeah. Well, now that you're older, Tab, wonder if you'd be wonder if you would enjoy Sunny D's newest addition to their line, Sunny D Vodka Seltzer.
No.
I didn't think so. Available in 4-packs of 12-ounce slim cans. Each can brings a bold orange flavor and is 4.5% ABV. 95 calories and made with real fruit juice and includes 0 grams of sugar. The That's a lie. I guarantee you.
Yeah,
it's just a straight up lie. Because like orange juice is already like naturally squeezed orange. Like I'm talking like freshly squeezed orange juice, incredibly sugary.
Yeah.
Because oranges, despite them, being known as sour fruits, they've got plenty of sugar in them.
Oh, you
Sunny
know what?
D.
Sunny D doesn't have sugar in it, Tim.
It's got high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup. It's sugar free. Yeah.
That's exactly what they're pulling. Yeah.
Yeah. So sugar free. Sugar free Dr. Pepper. It's good for you. What's in it? A fuckload of caffeine and high fructose corn syrup.
Uh-huh.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product.
Yeah. I've got another news story, and I thought this one was, not to call you Nostradamus or anything, but in New York City, according to the police, they have been seeing so much crime since the pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
That they are now urging businesses to unmask customers before they let them in the stores. Because some businesses are banning customers from entering the premises with masks on.
Yeah. Weird how taking away our faces suddenly makes us willing to do crazy things. Terrible things to one another.
I mean, which was funny because I remember when the lockdown happened, or before and right after, we saw these videos of people just brazenly stealing stuff, not wearing masks.
Yeah.
People just walking in and just taking things, and the people in there being like, you're stealing, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. I'm taking all this stuff. It's I can do whatever I want now, I guess.
It's the Wild West, man. I saw this great video of a lady accosting a woman who was stealing from a Michael's or somewhere like that, right? It was she was stealing a bunch of crayons, and she grabs her purse and she's like, dump your purse out. You have a bunch of our shit in your purse. And the woman's trying to get away, and she ends up ripping her purse and ripping her sweater. She's like, stop, I'm gonna call the police. And the lady that works the store goes, fucking do it. Fucking call the police. Call them right now. And oh man, it was so great. Yeah. I'm sure she got fired.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. You're not allowed to touch these customers. Fuck them, man.
I love the videos of the person has been caught and they're at the register and they're like, okay, keep going. They're pulling stuff out of their pockets, and they're wearing a big coat, right? And they look they look the size of a normal person, and they end up being like the size of a tweaked out meth head because they've just got so much stuff packed. They're shoved a ham up their legs.
Just who's the lady that's in Beetlejuice?
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. Yeah. Remember she was busted for shoplifting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got a news story here from Dad Cucks. Donald Dilbuck, 59, faced the death penalty after being convicted of murdering Faye Lamb Van in 1990, committing a crime after escaping from a work release catering job because he was already serving a life sentence for stabbing a man and murdering a county deputy in 1979. During his 1990 escape, he attempted to carjack Faye Van's vehicle outside the catering company and stabbed her fatally. So, this guy is a bad dude, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's the 100th person to be executed since 1979. And anti-capital punishment advocates fought against him being sentenced to death. And they appealed to the Supreme Court, saying that he had a neurological condition due to fetal alcohol syndrome. The High Court rejected the appeal, and Ron DeSantis signed the death warrant. So he was lethally injected on Thursday and pronounced dead. But according to reports, he admitted that he really messed up and hurt people when he was young, but then contended that Ron DeSantis has done a lot worse. He's taken from a lot of people, said the convicted murderer before he died. I speak for all men, women, and children. Ron DeSantis and other people like him can suck our dicks. And then they pushed the needle and killed the guy.
Wow.
Now, I don't know where you stand on Ron DeSantis, and I know a lot of people are like, I love Ron DeSantis, I hate Ron DeSantis. Regardless, who do you want to side with? Convicted murderers? Food for thought. When convicted murderers are like, I don't like this guy, I'm kind of like, like if Nambla was like, we don't like this person, I'd be like, yeah, that guy sounds pretty good. Anyway.
Well, I've got one last news story here.
All right.
So there is a Japanese musician named Rie Takahashi who was giving a concert in Japan, and she's known mostly for being a voice actor on a very popular video game called Genshin Impact. It's one of those anime waifu games. But they also have appeared in movies and shows and stuff. Anyways, so she's putting on a concert soon. Or I guess this was a couple weeks ago. She's putting on a concert a couple weeks ago. And just to make sure everyone was on the up and up, she tweeted out a hand-drawn guide to like, hey, how to enjoy your first concert of mine. And, there was some pretty sensible advice, like putting your valuables in a secure bag. But then the most important advice for the, the sweaty man children that we're going to go see her. Because, you think anime waifu game, it's not going to be 13-year-old girls screaming in the audience. It's going to be a bunch of man babies.
It's going to be a bunch of Magic the Gathering players with that guy.
Yes. Which is why the guide included a section which asked fans to thoroughly clean themselves before attending her performance.
Disgusting.
This took a form of an infographic showing a person cutting their nails and washing with soap and water, explaining how this would prevent other people from being bothered by excessive body odor.
That is so... oh, man. We were having this discussion the other day because one guy's in the other shop. He comes in and he's like, hey, how would you approach telling someone that they need to, like, take a shower more often? And I was like,
man.
You pull them aside and you go, you fucking stink. He's like, I don't think we can do that. I'm like, yeah, you absolutely need to do that. Someone needs to tell him. If you can't pussyfoot around it, you can't just be like, oh, hey, as a shot, you got to take that guy as a shot, as announcements like to everyone on the crew, be sure to take care of, wear extra deodorant and stuff. You got to pull that guy aside and be like, you smell like a fucking nasty ass. You need to go home right now, shower off, wash your ass, put on some fucking deodorant, put on some fucking cologne, come back here so you don't smell like a fucking nasty pit. There was it's funny because I went out to dinner with my friend and his wife the other day, and his wife was telling me about this guy that she used to work with that basically like never bathed, and I was just like that. No, so she like they work off site, and so they were driving together. 8 a.m. in the morning, he does this move, runs his hands through his hair and let off a wave of BO that made her retch, and I was like. I tell him to get the fuck out of my car. Get the fuck out of my car. Drive your own fucking car to the work site today.
When I worked retail and when I was working overnights, there was one night where I've told you this before, and I've probably said it on the show, but yeah, I had been there for a while, and there was a new guy, and the manager was like, "Hey, Tim, show this new guy the ropes," and sure, and hey, Tim, how's it going? Your name's John or whatever, and we're working, and it's just the two of us in an aisle, and I caught a whiff of something, and I was like, maybe it's just sometimes like winds are drifting, and maybe it's not him,
BO.
maybe it's Ghost BO, but then you sniff it again, it's like it's not me, it's definitely not me, this is bad, and it was like, oh man, I gotta tell him. It's like I gotta tell him. And then, but at one point it was so bad that I was like, okay, you sit there and you go do that, buddy. And I had to like leave the aisle to get fresh air. And by then it had spread. Everyone was like, "Is that the new guy?" And it was like, "Yeah, that's the new guy there." And so the manager was like, "I'll do it. I'll be the one to do it." And then he didn't show up his next shift.
Well, we've talked about this before on the show, but one of my biggest phobias is the thought that I might stink.
You stink,
and no one's
telling you. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm very fastidious about like trying to shower as
yeah.
Showering
yawn, stretch, and okay, I'm good.
Yeah, shower regularly, like wear deodorant, wear cologne. Just like if I get real sweaty, if I like have a day where I'm really working, I'm real sweaty at work, and then it's like, oh, hey, we're going to go out to dinner. I'm going to meet these people for dinner. We're going to go out for drinks or something. If at all possible, I will go home and shower.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't imagine people that live, and I know there's the myth that you can't smell your own BO, which is true, I think, up to a threshold.
Up to a point, yeah.
But like I've definitely had those days where like, you're out working in the yard, and you're
absolutely.
like, whoa, I've really worked up a funk.
Uh-huh.
Good thing I was already planning on showering today, like my regular schedule of showering like a normal fucking human being.
Yeah. Ugh. Or even just like this, like I think as humans we all know the smell of sweat.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain like, oh, this person has been sweating. Not like it's not necessarily a bad smell, because they can be sweating and be wearing deodorant, but there is a certain smell that comes with sweat, and when you sweat enough, you smell it on yourself.
Yeah. Ugh. Disgusting people, those anime fans.
Dude, it's just crowds in general. I don't know what it is, but I've been to enough concerts to know it's just crowds in general.
Yeah.
That's my favorite game to play at Cane's is it weed or BO?
Spoiler alert, it's both.
It's both.
Well, this has been
the Brigada News Network. Definitely not fake news.
And that takes care of our legal obligation this week, Tim. But you know what doesn't take care of?
Buying other people deodorant.
And if you want to help us buy the world deodorant, you can visit us at subscribestar.com/HWIDG, tip.hwidg.com, and patreon.com/HWIDG, which stands for
Here's What I Don't Get.
And that is the name of the show. And over there we have on Patreon, we have 5 tiers. We have the $1 tier, which gets you early access to each week's episode, plus our monthly minisodes. Tony and Buck did one recently that I have not yet edited because I have had the worst 2 weeks of all time. Then we have our $2 tier. We throw the random bits and bobs. Later this month, Tim and I, maybe more, will definitely be doing a review of John Wick Chapter 4.
Yes.
Possibly the greatest film of a generation.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I I think I already have tickets.
I don't have tickets yet because I have not figured out what theater I'm going to. There's an AMC that I was going to go to. I'm like, that's kind of close to work. It's not inconvenient on the way home. And then AMC was like, we're going to start charging people more to sit in the center of the seating. And I was like, well, you guys can get fucked forever then, AMC. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I might go
now
to
I have
All
to
No Trump Tax.
now I have to plan my work schedule around it because
John Wick, yeah.
yeah. Well,
Can't-
that plus my flight. Yeah.
Can't come in today, boss. Well, why? What's going on? John Wick's.
John Wick 4.
It's a national holiday.
Yes.
Then we have
Wick
our
Mix.
$5 tier where we do the random our bonus episodes. Here's what I do get. We drop the hate and talk about what's great. I think Joel and I are doing one of those this week. We have our $10 tier where you, the fan, submit a film. You vote on what film we watch, and we watch and record a feature-length commentary. We'll be doing more of those. And then finally, our $50 Spike Producer tier where you get a say in the show. You can ask for a special guest. You can ask for a change of format. Anything that we can do, we will do so to satisfy you, the viewers. So thank you to everyone, all of our patrons and supporters, big and small, across all the different platforms. We really appreciate it. And without you, the show would not still be going. 328 uninterrupted episodes, which is a number that very few podcasts are able to maintain because they are, well, let's just face it, they're weak. You don't need glasses, you're weak. But let's get back to some issues, Tim. Here's my real issue this week. Here's what I don't get. Premature praise. So Star Trek Picard season 3 is out right now.
Yeah.
And I did a video about this, but I want to talk about it on like the proper feed. Everyone's talking about how great Star Trek Picard season 3 is, and that like it's a breath of fresh air in comparison to all the stuff going on in media today. And I just cannot help but feel like I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Because I get it. Like they have pushed the bar so low with everything else that they've done that like competence in filmmaking these days appears to be amazing work. Like we were talking about the new Puss in Boots movie, and that's getting a lot of praise. And it's like, oh, because it's just a simple story of like a cat going on an adventure. It has an interesting little art style, and people are like losing their minds because everything we see is so like weighed down by politics and just all the stupid shit that's in there. That it's like when we watched Grandma's Boy. We watched Grandma's Boy and Beer Fest back to back, or in like the same week. Yeah. And Tim was like, "Oh, I'd much rather watch Beer Fest. Grandma's Boy is going to be terrible." But then in watching both movies, like Grandma's Boy, it had setups and payoffs. It had jokes. It had bits. Like it had a plot that made sense. And Beer Fest just like a movie where a bunch of things happen and then it was over, and you were like, "All right then."
Yeah.
And like just the sheer competence of Grandma's Boy made it feel a lot better than it is. And that's the way I like a lot of movies. I'll watch older movies and I think I enjoy them more now because it's just, oh, they made a movie, they told a story. I watched Hardcore Henry last night.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it, but it's the same director as the guy who did Nobody. And so he was talking about that movie and I was like, well, maybe I'll finally check it out. Was it great? No. Did I get to see Sharlto Copley get killed like 11 times? Yes. Was that worth it? Absolutely. Like, it wasn't stunning. It wasn't this amazing story. But it was competently done. Everything kind of made sense. It had nice like action payoff, and it was an interesting concept. And so like I watched the whole movie, and I was like, oh, that was fine. I don't think I'd watch it again, but I enjoyed it. And prior to watching Hardcore Henry, I wasn't like, oh, Hardcore Henry's bad. I was just like, I've never seen it. It seems like a neat idea, but I don't like first-person shooters, so I don't think it'd be for me. Like I feel like it kind of make me sick to my stomach, which I was surprised. It wasn't as disorienting as I thought it was going to be.
Probably because they weren't like faking first person. They were actually doing first person.
Yes.
And that director, like, that was his shtick. Like he had done music videos in that style before, so he knew what he was doing.
And yeah, that's all part of it too. But what I didn't do is I didn't talk about how great Hardcore Henry was before I watched. Like after I watched the first 10 minutes, I didn't like get on my phone and go like, Tim, Truckin' and Tuckin', have you seen Hardcore Henry? It is amazing. Oh my God, it's the most amazing movie I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Yeah. I did text you guys after I finished it. I was like, have you guys watched that movie? Have you seen it? And I think the answer was to both was no.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know. If you find yourself looking for something to watch and it pops up.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. So
which is a glowing recommendation for you, really.
It really is. And I'm very guarded about my recommendations. I've been very guarded about media in the last 10 years because like everyone was talking about The Boys. Oh, The Boys is so great. There's no politics. It's like, just like fun superhero shit. And I shat on it right away because I knew I could like feel it in my bones. and everyone's like, oh, nope, season 2 didn't get woke. Fuck you, Tab, you fucking moron. You're so stupid. You should be watching The Boys. Boys. Turn around social media. I love The Boys. I love boys. I'm going to fuck boys in my sleep. I love boys so much. Right? That's how rabid they were.
Yeah.
In season 3. Oh, this is a piece of shit. Game of Thrones. It's the greatest show of all time. You got to be watching it. You got to be watching the Game of Thrones. And it's like, I grew up when Lost was on TV, and everyone was batshit insane about Lost. And then what happened? Turns out the show fucking sucks at the end. And the same thing happened to Game of Thrones. And you would think that with those kind of learning examples, if you watch one good episode of a show that has otherwise been terrible, you wouldn't get out on the fucking internet and be like, it's fucking redeemed itself. It's so good. All this stuff is really like Red Letter Media is praising Picard season 3. Critical Drinkers praising Picard season 3. The fucking Fandom Menace guys are praising it. Like, Doomcock's out there like, they got rid of the woke stuff. I think they're finally learning. There are 9 more episodes, you fucking morons. It's like it would be like in a 500-meter dash, right? They blow the gun, you run 50 meters, and then you're like, nailed it, yeah. Or like if you were playing a game show and you had to answer a question, and then there was a follow-up question, and that was how you actually won the $5,000. And they're like, you won, but then like the timer's just ticking down. You have to wait. Like Reacher. I did not recommend Reacher, and I didn't watch the first episode of the show and go, this is pretty good, everyone should watch it. I watched the whole fucking season, and even then I was like, this first season is pretty good. It's pretty true to the book. I would recommend it. I don't even know if I said I recommended it. I think I was just like, I liked it.
Yeah.
But even then, like season 2 comes out, I'm not gonna watch one episode of season 2 and be like, they did it again, yeah. I'm gonna watch the full 10, 12 episodes and then go, it's pretty good. I don't understand how you could possibly take this victory lap one episode in. Like, they have 9 episodes to send this shit into the crapper. And it's crazy because when season 2 came out, the first episode, all these same people were like, it's fine. It's starting out pretty good. We'll see where they take it with it. Red Letter Media, they're like, I'll give this a pass, and 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 this a pass, assuming they pay it all off at the end.
Yeah.
Guess what, fuckos? Ain't happening.
It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, but all your friends are here now, so you're happier.
Yeah. It would be like writing a movie review after watching the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially with the way TV is made today, right? Like, you could probably take TNG and write a review of TNG based on 5 episodes of the entire series, the 170 episodes or whatever it is. Take 1 episode per season and write a review on the show, and just only based on those 7 episodes. So you have 7 episodes, 1 from each season. Write a review based on those episodes, and if you kept it generic enough, you could probably plug and play any episode of the show about it, because it's an episodic show. Like, it pretty much falls into these same.
They're
going
to find some weird aliens, and Troy's going to get raped by an alien again.
Yeah, they'll like find some aliens. There'll be a challenge. The B plot will kind of combine with the A plot to help them figure it out, and then they'll solve the mystery.
Yeah.
And then they fly off to the next adventure. Like, but with these long, especially, and there are season-long shows like American Horror Story was an anthology where
Yeah.
one season would be one whole story, and then the next season would be a whole new story, but it was still one season long. But
Yes.
then you have shows like Lost and 24. And even 24, it was kind of like one season was one story, and then there was the overall story.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like Breaking Bad, if you think about the first season of Breaking Bad, is it good? Yeah. Is it amazing? No. That show doesn't really get good until like Gus Fring comes along. Same thing with Better Call Saul. First season of Better Call Saul, is it good? Sure. Is it great? Not really.
Yeah.
And those are like one giant consecutive story that has to be told, not just a little episodic deal. And I just like they fucking take this victory lap. Oh yeah, we nailed it. We bullied Paramount Plus into making the TV show that we want. And it's just like in this sea of shit, the corn is the most appealing thing.
Yeah.
They have released a piece of corn into the stream.
Hey, shit cover piece of corn.
And everyone's like, yeah, there's some corn coming. We're going to get this corn. There's a lot more corn where that came from. Like, yeah, it's still shitty corn. And maybe there's not more corn. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just the one little bit of corn. Like, and there, the problem is like the way the internet works today. Like these first episodes where they're like, I love this show, will just get forgotten about when they do another Plinkett review of the series and be like,
Yeah.
oh, this show is so bad. Picard doesn't make any sense. And no one will remember this because we all have the attention span of goldfish now, and that's why we have to be herded through the airports like cattle, because we can't look at our boarding pass and go like, I'm in Terminal B, I landed in Terminal C, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like we have to be herded there, and so we'll be herded along. People will watch every fucking episode 2 review, episode 3 review, episode 7 review, and just like keep on shoving the shit in our face. Like, because it's also, I'm not like this, but there has to be fans out there, right? Where Mike and Rich say, I like this thing, I'm going to watch, and then people watch it. I've done that, right? They've talked about them. They talked about movies, and then I've watched them.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't take their voice as like holy gospel. Oh, this is
No.
going to be so fucking great. But if it's a movie that I might have been interested in on my own, like The Kid Detective, I like a good mystery story, and that seemed like a nice little gimmick. So, and I liked Encyclopedia Brown as a kid. I'll check this out. But when Jay is like, I watched this art house film about like fucking teenagers who collect bugs, and then they get sabotaged by a robot. I'm just like, that sounds fucking weird, Jay. I'm not interested.
And I hear that and being like, I am gonna go see that immediately.
Torrenting, clackety, 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 clackety. Yeah. So there are people that will see this and be like, well, I guess I'll subscribe to Paramount Plus and watch season 3. Like, we'll see what happens. And so what they've done essentially is they've gotten $10 for Paramount Plus for the next 3 months, however long the show runs. And so you're an advertiser now. You're an unpaid advertiser. And that's what all of this, I've talked about it, like controversy signaling. They want you to hate watch. They don't give a shit. $10 is $10, right? If you're hate watching it to be like, I hate what
They
they've
already
done to
spent the
Star
money.
Trek. Or if you're watching it and you're just like, I love gay Star Trek. Oh, so many cocks in my mouth.
They already spent the money.
Yeah.
Like it's not like South Park where they're making next week's episode right now, and up to like Thursday at midnight, they're staying up late editing it and then sending it out. Like
Yeah,
that's not
that's
how that works.
The money's been spent. The show has been shot. if you just wait a month, and then even if you did like the first 5 episodes, and then you were like, started out good, went to shit. I could at least respect that as opposed to doing this like free advertising for a corporation that admittedly hates you. They hate you.
Yeah.
They hate you. They hate the show that you like, and they want to destroy it. Like Joel and I were talking about this last week about the cultural vandalism. Like, it's not just good enough to make a thing. They have to also destroy the thing that you love. They can't just make a new story about teenagers solving crimes with a talking dog. It has to be Scooby-Doo, and they can't just make Scooby-Doo again. It has to be like Scooby-Doo but awful. So in your head you're like, Scooby-Doo's been ruined.
Yes.
And you just stop loving it. And yet people will go out there and be like, I love the first episode of Star Trek Picard. I can't wait to watch the rest of this season. Get a life. Like, I don't. That's the other thing that's mind-boggling to me is them falling for it. I saw those same trailers where they're like, "We're bringing back everybody. It's going to be great," and I was just like, "Yeah, you can't get me. You're not going to play a slow, haunting version of the Raiders March and make me come see Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah.
You're not going to play. You're not going to have Michael Dorn show up as Worf and trick me into watching Picard. You're not.
I mean,
going
it's your
to,
strongest ace. It's their strongest ace in the hole, but still, it's not that strong. I'm playing a different game.
Exactly. I've taken my ball and gone home.
Yeah.
I have all of the Star Trek that I want. I have on my own Plex server. I'm fucking watching it. I'm watching that. I'm not watching it on your service. I stole it from you. I hate you. You hate me. I hate you more. And I have the power because I have $10. Every month that I don't subscribe to Paramount Plus, I have $10. You can either try and get that $10 or you can fuck yourselves. And it looks like you guys have chosen to fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
But no, like fools, people will keep running, but maybe this one's going to be different. This time will be different. It's, a battered wife. Oh, he still loves me. He still loves me. He doesn't. He doesn't love you. He loves Jim Beam. He loves just hammering Jim Beam and slapping the shit out of you.
You gotta hit the bottle and hit the leak.
Yeah.
So that's what he likes. He likes hitting things.
That is what he likes hitting. And they like hitting. They enjoy watching people like me get angry about this. And
Yeah, because
swear.
that's the new.
That's the
like-
new media, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anything will get. Hate watching. I don't think will ever get more views than something actually being good and hyped up.
Yeah.
But it's like the second best thing.
Yeah.
If you have a product that, like, Star Trek will never make like boatloads of money.
Yeah.
No, Star Trek's not going to make $1 billion on anything. Like they made 10 movies, and those movies, like, they could probably recoup their cost.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if they didn't make profit, even if they just broke bank, they know that that's enough to, like, appease fans and keep the IP going. Then they did the Abrams movies. I think that first one probably made the most
Yeah.
of any of the Star Trek movies because it had been a while and it was new and shiny, and he hadn't screwed up a bunch of IPs already. But then, of course, that dwindled down. Now, like, there's been talk of a 4th movie for the last 10 years. So that's clearly not going anywhere. Star Trek is never going to be that huge
tentpole
blockbuster
thing. Yeah.
And they know they can get fans they have fans of the new stuff, which I guess there are, because I mean, there's a dude I work with, that is, I saw him playing like some lower decks phone game.
Yeah, no, one of my glass blowing partners like watches the new stuff, and I was just like, we can't talk about this.
Yeah.
If we need to work together, we absolutely cannot talk about this.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk about the old shows. I can talk all day about the old shows, but if we start talking about the new stuff, we will not get along.
And I actually think that like Star Wars has entered that era.
Oh, Star Wars has like entered its lame duck. It was this huge heavy hitter for forever. And speak of the devil, J.J. Abrams ran that shit into the ground.
Because I can't fathom a new movie coming out, like episode 10, right? I can't imagine episode 10 coming out. It's a different director, writing team, or whatever. I can't even imagine what it would look like. But at the same time, I can't imagine it doing gangbusters.
Yeah.
In the way that Star Wars,
the way
used
that
to be
The
able
Force
to.
Awakens did.
Yeah.
It made $1 billion in opening weekend.
Yeah.
Here's I think the best case scenario for Star Wars is George Lucas buys it back at way less than what he sold it for, and they just redo a new trilogy, and it's like, this is episode 7. The Disney shit does not count. It's not non-canon.
Yeah.
And like, even if it's just like George Lucas is the figurehead and they have other creatives actually running the show, I don't think that would bring back fans.
No. Well, I mean, it would bring back like a certain contingency of fans, but I think it would just confuse general audiences.
Yeah, probably.
If not just like, I mean, I think general audiences would probably still go see it
because it says Star Wars on it.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is like, I think, like, I don't want to talk too much about Star Wars because I just could not care less. But like episode 7, like it had been
10 years or something.
10, 15 years, I think.
I think it was like 2000. It was like 2016 that the Force Awakens came out.
So like 15 years.
10, because the Revenge of the Sith came out in like 2005.
Okay. In between there, 10, 12 years. It had been long enough for a bunch of new 12-year-olds to go see Star Wars. And they had a bunch of familiar faces in it. They hadn't all died off yet. I'm sure Harrison Ford will be dead by the time they make the next ones. If not, he will.
Hope.
He will. I guarantee you, none of those people will want to do another movie.
And they shouldn't.
And they shouldn't. But
except for Peter Mayhew. I mean, that guy is lucky to have any kind of work. Like, hi, 7-Eleven.
You tall freak.
This is 7-Eleven on 3rd Street. Hey, is this Peter Mayhew? Yes. We're making another Star Wars movie. I'm in.
Yeah.
Hajib, I quit. You fuck. They want me back as Chewbacca.
Yeah.
I told you they make another Star Wars. You punk bitch.
Yeah. I literally, like, I think without, especially for a major IP like that, that's a major IP. Without like familiar faces, I mean, you've got like you've got the items. All that you have left is like items and lore.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough for a general audience.
Well, even like Star Wars,
which is why they're going to be continue to crank out the TV shows.
And they crank the TV shows out, and every single one is like, oh, this is the best one yet. And it's just like, well, they're not getting better.
Yeah.
It's not like, yeah, they're not. Nothing's getting better. It's not like, there's that cracked image
Yes,
that's like
the
about
TV show.
shows, and it's like
Yeah.
your first season's real rough, your second season's kind of shaky, the third season you start dialing in, like 4 and 5 are great.
3, 4, and 5 is the apex of the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6 it starts to get a little rough. 7 it's like
People start
but-
leaving.
yeah,
producers
maybe it's time
and
to wrap it
cast,
up.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then but then it's like it keeps on going. I think the 4, 5, 6 of Star Wars ironically was the prequels,
Yes, one was 1,
Which-
2, 3.
which old school fans hate them. I've never hated them. I don't think that they're like great as movies, but
No.
they were entertainment.
They were entertainment. Yeah.
And everything past that has kind of like given up on being entertainment. It wants to be a lecture. It wants to be like up its own ass. It's like, what if Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi fought? How cool would that be?
Uh huh.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Show me Kit Fisto. Where's the Kit Fisto series? I'd
You
watch
love
that.
Fisting.
I love fisting.
Fists and Fists of Fury. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like
Yeah, give me a Gendy Tarkovsky Star Wars show on Disney Plus.
that's the thing about the Star Wars universe is when Disney bought it, it was a license to print money. They could have, if they had just like focused on like let's make an entertaining thing, let's make it, fun, and they could have shit out bad movies. They could have shit out Attack of the Clones
They did.
quality movies and just made money. And especially, I always said, what they should have done with Star Wars is just make movies and set them in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
It's Goodfellas in the Star Wars universe.
I'd probably watch that.
Yeah. Like, just pick literally
love
any
Goodfellas.
movie and then go, but it's in Star Wars. It's the good, bad, the bad, and the ugly, but it's in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
It's Amistad, but in the Star Wars universe.
I don't know about that one.
It's
Amadeus
Schindler's
in the
List.
Star Wars universe.
What?
Amadeus in the Star Wars universe. Yeah.
Schindler's List, but in the Star Wars universe. Turns out Palpatine was rounding up. Palpatine was rounding up Twi'leks and send
that's
them into special camps.
That's a different movie.
6 million Twi'leks?
Forced
Do
boners.
you really think that, like, one, I mean, how many Twi'leks could there possibly have been on Twi'lekistan? And then the Clone Wars only lasted like 3 years. It's just like mathematically, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, but people will just jerk themselves off silly. I can't wait. I don't want to watch anything by Red Letter Media or Critical Drinker about Picard season 3
Until the
their
end.
final episode.
Yeah.
Because I've watched the first one now. Whatever their final episode that comes out is, watch that one when they're like,
Watch that one.
and then go back and watch the like slow descent into madness. Just
Yes,
be like,
yes,
I
yeah.
was right. Again, I was right. You couldn't fucking pump the brakes for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, just be like, whoa. Hey, because like I've watched things and thought, hey, this is pretty good, and then watched them descend into terribleness.
Yeah.
And you just gotta like, kind of be like, hey, that one's actually, or even like a bad thing. I've watched bad shows that have good episodes, but you don't just go like, they've totally redeemed themselves.
Yeah.
What a great concept for a television show. The same way a good show with a bad episode, it's just like, man, that was kind of a
You don't
stinker.
stop watching it.
Yeah. You take it as a whole. You like, they're not all going to be Worf episodes. Sometimes it's going to be an episode where Deanna Troy gets raped and has a space baby.
Yeah.
And you just got to push through it and hope that the next one is not Geordi being an incel. Oh, Geordi incel episode. Ugh, yikes. Not a good look, Chief. Anyway, that's my issue. Premature praise. Like, let it breathe. It's like a fine wine. You got to let it breathe. That first sip, you take that first sip and you're like, oh, this is terrible. People do that with whiskey. They'll like take a sip and they'll go, oh, I can't. I just
Yeah.
taste the ethanol. And it's like, yeah, that's the first sip of every whiskey.
You got to get used to it.
You gotta let that one sit with you for a second, and then take a deeper sip, and then And sure, like we had that Paul John Indian whiskey that tasted like feet.
I brought that up the other day.
The first sip was bad.
Oh.
The second sip was a lot worse.
But we knew that was going to be bad.
I had
as soon
a
as-
sneaking suspicion. Yeah,
I mean, as soon as we opened the box, is what I meant, or opened the bottle. Yeah.
wafted out into the whole house. Ooh. Paul John, not endorsed by Here's What I Don't Get. Let me tell you right now. But yeah, so that's my issue. Premature praise. Before you start recommending a show, just like pump the brakes and decide: is what's out now, is that consumable as one thing? Like Reacher season 1, even if season 2 is fucking awful,
Yeah.
season 1 is a great watchable story.
Contained. Yeah.
Contained the whole thing, no cliffhangers, which I think is a great aspect of that. But you can just watch season 1 and then never watch the show again and have a good time. Game of Thrones, when people recommend it to me in season 3, and they're like, "Oh, it's so great," and I watched season 1 and hated it, and they're like, "Oh, no. You got to push past season 1, and you got to wait until those shows are done, and then go, oh, this is objectively terrible, start to finish." Thank you. Anyway, well, this has been Here's What I'll Get. I'm Tad Burt.
Tim the Handlebreaker.
We'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.
If you want to call in the Here's What I'll Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can visit us in the Discord under voicemail upload. Got a voicemail here.
You know, listening to the latest episode when Chaco was talking about how creativity has died. It's not that creativity's died, it's just all about the money. It's like they're afraid to venture off and try something new, and they don't want to, lose money, so they just focus on fucking Indiana Jones. Everybody loves that. Let's make another one. Fucking Scream. Remember that fucking movie? Let's make a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th one. They just keep beating this shit into the ground because it makes money, or they fucking think it's going to make money, or it's just a safer bet. Because, I read a shitload of sci-fi books, and it got to the point where, you see like, oh, this one shares from that book, and this book took an idea from that book, and eventually I got burnt out on a lot of them, and I couldn't find anything good, and then I just waited a little while and found one. Anyways, yeah.
I disagree. I don't think it's about money. I think that because if it was about money, once in a while they'd make a good one. Right? Once in a while they would reboot something and you'd have a movie like The Equalizer. Like, think about all the reboots and late in life sequels and things, and how many of them are even competent, let alone great.
Yeah.
And the only one I could think of in the last 10 or 15 years is The Equalizer. They took an old TV show, made it into a movie, and that first Equalizer movie is really good.
It's so good.
The second Equalizer movie is a piece of crap.
Not good. Not good.
And so, I think that is below the statistical level to say, oh, Equalizer was a fluke, and they're actually trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you were trying to make a good movie and you were just bad at it, eventually you would shit out enough movies that one of them would be interesting, or it would catch the imagination. But Hollywood just doesn't do it. They just shit out another remake and another reboot and another remake and another reimagining and another twist on this, and it's just And you'd also think if it was about money that they would try and make the things good. Anyway.
Tab, your sexual harassment training reminded me of when I first got my full-time job. I was 18 at Walmart doing the typical watching those dumb videos. And just a little bit of preface. Basically, I grew up pretty sheltered. Parents weren't racist. Never, anyways.
You missed out, buddy.
So, with that being said, I never really knew. I never grew up around Jewish people. I only grew up around a lot of Mexicans, black people, Asian, whatever. No, not really Jewish people. So I never really knew about their culture besides dreidels and shit and Hanukkah. So I'm watching the sexual harassment training video and what not to do basically. And that's when I learned when I was 18 that Jewish people make bagels, because one of the skits they had was, there's like a new girl in the office, and some guy just goes up to her and he goes, "Oh, you're Jewish, huh? I heard Jews make good bagels." And it's just like, what the fuck? And it just reminded me of another time when I was at work. I was working with this half black, half white chick, and just one day out of nowhere, she's like, "Hey, you know what a mulatto is?" And I was like, "Well, no," because again, never, it wasn't brought up, fucking racist, whatever. And I was like, "No, what's a mulatto?" She's like, "Oh, it's a racial slur that he would call people like me that are half black and half white." It's just like, okay, fucking thanks, And it's just funny. It's like, if we just forgot about those horrible slurs and shit and just kind of let people forget about them, it wouldn't be a problem. But then again, we might come up with funnier ways to call people fucking slurs. Anyways, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, do you think if you like Thanos snapped and you could just get rid of like all the slurs, like that would solve racism?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
People would find
new slurs.
New slurs.
Yeah. Do you think that racism is inherent to people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I think that I don't think we're born like a caricature of racism.
No.
But I think
it's a form of tribalism.
Yeah.
I think we went through this. We did a big episode about this years ago. It's not like you look different than me, die. It's, I don't like you. And this is the reason why I can see that I don't like you. It's the most obvious reason. Or that dude's doing way better than me. I know why I don't like him.
It's because he makes a lot of bagels, and you're like,
yeah.
I must not like bagel makers. Einstein brothers, damn you.
Or or you grow up and your dad doesn't like that guy, so he goes, "Hey, that guy sucks. Remember that."
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
And you never meet the guy, so the whole time you're like, "I guess that guy sucks."
Yeah. So I grew up in Greenwood in Tulsa, black neighborhood,
yeah,
black church, and I don't think I process, and I probably because I'm retarded, but I didn't process that we were different until I was in the 3rd or 4th grade.
Yeah, it takes a little bit. Yeah.
And so maybe I don't stand by that we're born racist. Maybe we're not born racist. Maybe I was taught to be racist. Maybe if we snap the words away. I think it's just an exposure thing too, where
that's that too.
You grow up in a neighborhood and you're with these people, and it doesn't really matter that you're different, especially with kids.
Kids don't care, dude.
Kids do not give a fuck.
The only way they learn about even cultural differences is that they have to be inquisitive and be shown that stuff.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We solved racism. Congratulations, Tim. I got one more here from Andy.
I was lonelier than Kunta Kinte at a Merle Haggard concert that night I strolled on into Uncle Limpy's hump house looking for love. It has been a while. In fact, 365 had come and went since that midnight run hauling hog to Shaky Town on I-10. I had picked up this hitchhiker that was sweating gallons through a pair of Daisy Duke cutoffs and one of those Fruit of the Loom tank tops. Well, that night I lost myself to ruby red lips, milky white skin, and baby blue eyes. Name was Russell. Well, faster than you can say shallow grave. this pretty little thing come up to me and started kneading my balls like hard-boiled eggs in a tube sock. Said his name was Bambi. And I said, "Well, that's a coincidence, darling. 'Cause I was just thinking about skinning you like a deer." But she smiled. How about as much teeth as a jack-o'-lantern? I went on to tell her how I would wear her face like a mask as I do my little cookie dance. And then she told me to shush.
So,
I guess she could sense my desperation. Of course, it's hard to hide a hard-on when you're dressed like Minnie Pearl. So Bambi's going on about how she can make all my fantasies come true. So I says, even this one they have where Jesus Christ is jackhammering Mickey Mouse in the doo-doo hole with a lawn dart as Garth Brooks gives birth to something resembling a cheddar cheese log with almonds on Santa Claus's tummy thumb? Well, 10 beers, 20 minutes, and $30 later, I'm parking the beef bus in Tuna Town, if you know what I mean.
these are the lyrics
Got to nail
to
her
a
back
song
in
by
her
the
trailer.
Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
that,
A
that
lap
makes
dance
sense.
is so much
I
better
have to
when
admit,
the stripper is
it was
crying.
even more of a turn on when I found out she was doing me to buy baby formula. So a day or so had passed when I popped the clutch, gave the tranny a spin, and slid on into the stinky pinky
I like
gulping
how
buzz of
Andy's
big
always
big
trying to
and stuff.
reinvent himself with his voicemails.
Me too.
You know? He did he had the whole saga with him and the creepy lady.
Uh-huh.
There was the time where he was like just had his head hanging out a window every time he called in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Crazy
there was
Ed
the
saga.
Mr. Ed. The
That
reviews of
exciting.
Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed, yeah, Mr. Ed.
Man, who will ever forget the great days of Mr. Ed?
I guess now he's doing sincere readings of
Music lyrics in Mein Kampf, yeah.
songs with weird lyrics. If you're thinking about songs with weird lyrics, don't do Beck. Tab already knows what it is. He'll know it immediately.
I'll know, yeah. That's one, definitely.
Get crazy with the cheese whiz, Andy. Get crazy with the cheese whiz.
Saving all your food stamps and burning down the trailer park.
Yeah.
Yo, cut it.